Hello, everybody out there on YouTube. Once again, it is the three middle-aged dudes just bullshitting about nothing. I am the Reverend.
The thing here.
And Gray Mouse 1.
And in this video, continuing along with the positive vibe that we had going on with the previous video, we are going to talk about games that, or actually gaming purchases that we made throughout our long, 20, 30 plus years as gamers that actually turned out to be a lot better than what we expected. Something that we just picked up as an odd or off purchase that we're like, oh, well, I just have enough money to go ahead and do this. I don't know what it's really about. Let me just go ahead and pick it up. That turned out to be fucking golden, okay? These are the type of really niche games or things that we didn't even know about that turned out to be great, especially considering in the age that we grew up in, and I don't want to sound too old, but not everybody had internet access in their homes. So they didn't have access to what you have, which is YouTube reviews, Metacritic, or any other fucking, forum or gaming website out there that's going to give you the lowdown on your purchase. With that, guys, the floor is open. I know we can go on in length. Give me what you got.
Shit. From the top of my head, I remember the games that you guys suggested to me, and I was like, okay, maybe I should, give these games a try since it's my homeboys, my friends, and these people that I trust, and these guys have been gaming, and they know my taste. So I remember Gray Mouse and Theory. They recommended Chime. They were like, Dean, this game has you written all over it. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Next thing you know, I am totally pasted on this game for weeks. Another one, Bejeweled 3 is something that I didn't even need to play the demo of, period. I just saw it, and I bought it, and I was, once again, pasted on it for weeks.
Yeah.
Legacy of Kain Defiance was one of the best purchases I've ever made in gaming. And I will still play that game to this day. Portal was something that was just like, look, play this game, because once again, it's funny because Theory, he came over to my place and he's like, play Portal. He sat there and watched me play through this whole game for about 3 hours.
Well,
without saying, he didn't even say a word, and I was just...
Well, let's I know we probably have a long list that we can go ahead and mentally go off, but let's go into a little in-depth about what got us with our particular purchases and our particular titles and why it fucking struck us so well and why it stuck with us. So if you mind to rewind just like 2 minutes there, Theme, go over like some of the things that really stuck out to you with some of those games that you just mentioned.
Okay, Legacy of Kain Defiance. The soundtrack is one. The story was the other. There were 2 stories being told concurrently. The gameplay was great. And it was one of those games where, yeah, it was a sequel because there was, this is Kain and Raziel. But when I played this game, I was just like, wow, this is one of the main reasons why I love video games. It took me back to a point where I was like, this is why I game. The shit like this.
Yep.
Defiance. If you've never played that game, please go play it. It's one of those games that was kind of hidden and swept under the rug compared to the other games, but this game speaks volumes.
Yep. What about you, Gray Mouse? What are some of the things that really stood out to you as one of those hidden gems or maybe a surprise to you that you didn't really expect when you actually made the purchase?
Well, I got 2. One, like you said, back in the day when there was only a television commercial and pretty much word of mouth, whether or not a game is good or not. So I would have to say I just bought, or my mom bought Legend of Zelda on a whelm. And from that moment on, I was fucking hooked. I mean, being an open world at that time, you know, and then you have to actually find the dungeons and you have to find certain things. That was kind of new. And then for more modern times is a game called Limbo. I was shocked at how good that game was. It was just insane, just the mechanics of it, the darkness, you know, and that was one of the great games. And a lot of the games that I've actually bought that really surprised me were indie games, believe it or not. You know, Guacamelee is another one.
Guacamelee is great. Yes, I agree with that.
Limbo, you know, and then Ori and the Forest. I mean, if you sit there and play these games, you're like, wow, you know, they're not AAA titles, but they are, you know.
They get the job done for what.
Yeah, and as far as they go, they've got a lot more heart and actual purpose, you know, creative purpose from the developers than a lot of AAA titles before them. But I'm sorry for interrupting. Is there anything else you want to throw out there?
Yeah. I mean, mostly ID titles, you know, that in recent times. I mean, because at that point, you just have one person or maybe two people, three people, a small little studio that is doing the music, the programming, the you know, the drafting, the drawing, and all that. It just makes it more, you know. But yeah, I have to say, Legend of Zelda was a complete surprise. Metroid was a complete surprise. But we're talking about back in the day when word of mouth, this game is good, from fellow gamers, from your friends, and maybe Nintendo Power every once in a while. But, you know, there wasn't a widespread where you could actually go on the YouTube and actually look at the game before you buy it now. I mean, that's a great advantage, I guess. It is. It keeps you from buying, you know, shitty games. Yeah,
let's hit.
Let's cover it. Yeah, and that at that time it didn't have that. So I mean, I've been a victim of buying, you know, a game that looks good and it just was trash.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of games that I could probably go ahead and go about, like Gray Mouse said, that, you know, he's seen my collection and he knows that there's a lot of things. And I've mentioned this before in previous videos. You know, the first gaming console that I owned, that I bought for myself, was actually a Super Nintendo. So I can't actually throw in any NES games into this particular conversation, simply for the fact that a lot of the NES games that I played, or excuse me, that I treasure in that way, I had played previously. I just didn't have the opportunity to own them. But one of the first games that surprised me completely, that I had no idea about, or actually I saw a particular portion of it and I thought, I'm going to fucking hate that. This is not going to sit well with me, was ActRaiser. And the truth is that with ActRaiser, the village building and the God mode portion of it is my favorite fucking part of that game. When I first played the game, when I you know, I purchased it because it was cheap at the time, and I heard from other friends who went ahead and mentioned, they're like, yeah, it's pretty fucking good. So I went ahead and I picked it up. I was like, okay, I don't expect much from this. And then I went through the first stage and I got to the first village building part and I was like, this is fucking stupid. I'm going to fucking hate this. And lo and behold, after the first few fucking huts get set up and the villagers offer up that first offering to you, I was like, oh my fucking God, what else can I do here? And it just grew from there. I didn't expect anything from that game at all. Another game that I expected absolutely nothing from, but I ended up spending probably hundreds of fucking hours on between me and my buddies, was when I moved up to Washington. You know, on a payday, I would usually go out. Me and my buddy, we'd go out and we'd hit up the mall, which was like literally right down the block from where we worked at. So we would just go ahead and we would We would drive over there, hit up the mall, get any shopping done for any stupid shit before we would hit up some place to eat, maybe grab some drinks, and then go home. And I walked in and we saw Street Fighter EX. And we sat there. I was sitting there. I was looking around at things. I was like, you know what? No, none of this stuff looks good. I mean, I think week before I picked up Romancing Saga for the PlayStation, which is a piece of shit. I don't care who fucking defends that thing. It's a piece of shit game. All right. And we were looking at things. I'm like, dude, there's nothing here that I really like. And he was like, dude, it's Street Fighter. I was like, but I was into Tekken and Virtua Fighter and all the 3D games and everything else. He was like, dude, it's in 3D. Come on, go ahead, pick it up. You'll probably like this shit. I was like, nah, man, this is. Let's just say that at that time for my PlayStation, I had the normal digital controllers that didn't have the analog sticks. All right. And I would sit there, I would swap them out. I would use one for about a month and a half, or a month and 2 months. I swap it to the other one, and so I could use that. And they were very, very fucking crisp. Okay. Over the next 4 weeks, we put about 6 months worth of fucking use on each and every fucking controller, where those things were so fucking loose. By the time that the actual DualShock came out and I was playing on a DualShock, I couldn't fucking play them. In fact, I still have those controllers because when I play Street Fighter, those things are so fucking broken in. Those are the controllers I use to play them on. I did not fucking expect at all to go ahead and actually enjoy that game as much as I did.
I have 3 games next. And one of them I even let Gray Mouse borrow was Crimson Skies. I remember playing this game in front of a couple of buddies in my home, and I'm playing this, and we had to go out. And in the midst of playing this, a couple of, events and stuff like that, and I was like, nope. And I put the controller down, and I turned the Xbox off. And these guys were like, what the fuck, man? I was like, guys, look, you don't understand. If I didn't turn that thing off now, I would still be playing it. I have to go. The game is that fucking good, but I have to turn it off because we have somewhere to be. The second game is N+. N+ is one of those indie games that took me by a whole bunch of surprise, because most games are judged by the way they look, by the way they sound, not by the way they play anymore. And when I first played this game, okay, you're a ninja, you're collecting gold. No. When you're used to ninja games, you're used to, okay, if you see platform, okay, fine, you're a ninja. You can go all the way up and come all the way down. Not N+. If you fall a certain distance and you got nothing but concrete below you, you will fall, you will crack your body to bits, and you will die.
Yep.
And when I first did that, and at the lower left-hand corner, it said, ouch, I was just like, wait a second. So this is not going to be an easy ninja type game. So I kept playing it, and about 15 minutes later, I was like, this is amazing. This is actually something I can partake in. Another ninja game is Ninja Gaiden for the NES. I remember first playing it and being kind of upset because it wasn't like the arcade version of Ninja Gaiden. So I was a little jaded by that.
Yeah.
And then when I kept playing it, and I kept playing it, and I kept playing it, and it had a story behind it. And that's what really kind of gripped me into the game. Yes, the game was hard as hell, especially, me being young, me trying to play it and all that. But it was a good game. Yes, you just have to master the patterns and the respawning of enemies if you get that, and so on and so forth. But it was one of those games that actually took me by surprise because of the mental picture that I had walking into it. Oh man, this is not like the arcade. What the fuck? But then my mind was instantly changed once the game progressed.
Yep. I mean, there are a lot of games where you sit there and you pick up from the arcade, and you expect them to be you kind of expect them to be one way. I mean, it was kind of like that with the NES Strider for my thing. And a lot of people don't like the NES Strider, but I actually like it a lot. But it you know, the problem with the NES Strider is that for the purpose of this particular conversation, I had seen it playing. I'd seen many friends play it many times before I actually purchased it. One of the games that really, really got me, and I wasn't expecting this at all, is a game on the PlayStation called Incredible Crisis. Okay. You've actually played it at my house, Theme. What it is that it's a collection of mini games that are themed after movies, where you sit there and you play through it and you pretty much follow this family, this average Japanese family through their day as all this sort of weird shit happens, okay? Like the father, he goes in and he does, you know, the morning calisthenics and exercises, his dad's calisthenic and exercises with his employers. And it's a rhythm and music game when it comes out with that. And then, you know, later on he gets stuck in an elevator that the cord gets stuck and he has to sit there and save his own life as elevators plummeting doom. And then he finally gets out there, and it turns out that the city is being invaded by aliens. Everything just keeps on happening. It's all this crazy fucking shit. And it's not just for the father, but it's for every fucking member of the family. You know, the wife, the daughter, and the son, they all go through all this crazy shit. And when I first purchased this, all I saw was a dude that looked like a volcano with his head fucking exploding, right? An Incredible Crisis. And it was being marketed for 20 fucking bucks. For when I picked it up, I was like, I'm not expecting shit from this fucking game. You know, I'm like, I'm not even going to be surprised if I sit there, I pop it in, and later on in the afternoon, after about 15 minutes, I never pop it into my PlayStation again. But I obsessively played through that fucking game for weeks to go ahead and get everything done. And it's just a great fucking game, you know?
I have two more. One of them was you, Reverend, recommended to me. Phoenix Wright. Phoenix fucking Wright, man. And once again, you were like, you would really like this game because of the way you are. Me playing this and I was floored how gripping this game was. It was just the fact that I was just like, whoa, I'm actually in. Look, I want to put this dude away.
Yeah.
He's guilty. I want to put him away. He's not gonna get away with this shit. That was one game that I was just like, wow, this was that was really something.
Yep.
Phoenix Wright, dude. This I won't forget that title. I just won't.
Yep.
Another one, and if you've never heard of this game for the Nintendo 64, if you find it or if you can play it, please play it once and just stick with it. It's called Mischief Makers. It's called Mischief Makers. Oh, dear God. You talk about a platformer that's out there. You walk around and you're shaking things. And when you're shaking things, you're actually saying, shake, shake. And when you're shaking these enemies and things are falling out, and it's like, what? I was confused at first until I got later on where you shake backgrounds, you shake stages, you shake bosses. And I was really into it.
Shake, shake, shake. Shake, 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 shake.
Mischief Makers.
What about you, Gray Mouse? You have any more you want to go ahead and throw onto the pile that were just completely surprising, come out of left field?
Yep. Me and the team were walking down the arcade in Japan, and just out of the corner of my eye, they had a TV set. And just out of the corner of my eye, all I heard was, "Oh!" I was like,
Look, I didn't mention that. I saved that for you because I knew you were going to mention it.
because all I heard was a, "Oh!" I was like, "What the fuck?" So I look over at the TV, and he was continuing walking, and Thing was still walking. I was like, check this game out. And the game was, it's called Devil Dice for the PlayStation.
Okay.
Pick it up.
It's a puzzle.
It's a puzzler. Yeah. And the object of the game is, it's to, it has a story mode and a, what do you call it? Like
Puzzle
a
mode.
multiplayer.
It has a multiplayer mode and a puzzle mode.
And a puzzle mode, story mode. And what you do is you got to move these dice. You're devils on a double dice, right? And you move it around. When you move, it switches from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got to match them. And anyway, when you die or you run out of time, these devils go up to heaven. It's exact opposite of what you
And
think.
they scream. They say, "Ah!"
And they go, "Ah!" It was a cheap game, but it was, oh my God, it's a
I
great.
still play it.
Jeez.
I still play it to this day.
We
That's kind of the point of this particular video is that, when you sit there and you pick up these games that you're just like, all right, this is something I wouldn't normally go out of my way to pick up, but maybe it's cheap. Maybe it's a deal. Maybe it's something that you just can't fucking pass up at the time. And you're like, all right, I'm going to spend, the 9, 10, 20 bucks on it. But, generally speaking, with a lot of folks, when they go ahead and they go through this experience, it's not something you're willing to spend like 50 fucking bucks on.
Right.
But when you finally get a hold of it and you sit down and you play it, you're like, wow, this is fucking great.
Hey, IQ did that to me too.
Yep.
IQ for the PlayStation. Intelligence Q.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a game called RoboTrek, which is an old Enix game for this Nintendo. Falls right in line with a lot of games that I went ahead and mentioned, where it was just one of those things. I was like, well, guess what? I don't have enough to go ahead and get this $70 game that I really fucking want, so I'll go ahead and I'll pick this one up. And it just turned out to be a fucking gem. It really turned out to be a gem.
I remember for a birthday present, I was going to get Mike Tyson's Punch Out, but it was sold out. So I had to pick out something else. And I ended up going with Defender 2 for the NES.
Okay.
And I must have stayed up all night playing that. Because, I knew about Defender because I played it on the Atari, and then Defender 2 for the NES. It was just that great.
Yeah. I mean, let me go ahead and throw another example out there. During the time of the late or mid to late 90s, 2D fighting games were all the rage and everything. And just on the off chance, I happened to see Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, well, it looks kind of quirky and everything else. I'm like, okay, I'll pick this up. I don't think I'm going to spend too much fucking time with it. Me and my buddies spent so much fucking time on that fucking game. It was just, wow. That and Street Fighter EX, and then onward to Street Fighter EX2. By the time I got to EX2, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, I know what this game is, and there's a reason why I'm going out and I'm looking for it, But yeah, I really didn't expect what it was about. In fact, I halfway expected that it was going to be Puzzle Fighter, the puzzle game, but it wasn't that. It was simply just the animations for it in an actual Street Fighter game. And the whole thing is that, I'm sorry, but handing over a love letter as Chun-Li and watching her get turned down, or fucking turning people in to sit there and have them sit Caesar style in front of Akuma as he acts like a fucking Yakuza boss is just fucking great. This is so goddamn great.
Another one was Bust a Move, with the Bubble Bobble characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Puzzle
didn't,
Bobble. Busted Move, yeah.
I didn't really. Actually, I think Busted Move was actually the Japanese name for it, right?
Yeah.
No.
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 No, they've got it here. Yeah.
Puzzle Bobble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Puzzle Bobble was Japanese.
that was really impressive too. I mean, I thought nothing of it. I thought it was just a puzzler game. But then when you know, it's a cheap puzzle game, you know, and you sit down there and oh my God, I spent, like you said, like all night, and it's like it constantly found its way into my PlayStation. And somehow it just found its way in there.
Yep.
I have a couple of more. One was Pac-Man Arrangement.
Oh, yeah.
That was a revamp of the actual Pac-Man, you know, the arrangement style where there are power-ups and stuff like that, and there are boosts, and you can eat pills and chew faster, and the ghosts have power-ups and everything because they will merge with the blue ghosts and they'll get extra big, and they're
Yeah.
Then another was Rival Schools. That was one of those games that I never was bored with for my PlayStation. I had so much fun beating people and taking their money because of, you have Shoma, Batman. That game was just, no matter who I picked, no matter how then there's Project Justice for the Dreamcast, but fuck, man, that's why Power Stone 3 and Rival Schools 3, please.
What about what you call it? Championship Edition.
Who are you talking about? Street Fighter?
No. Pac-Man Championship Edition.
Oh, Lord, yeah, that.
That's another surprise game. You're like, I tell you what, when I saw all those 30 ghosts getting chomped down by Pac, I was like, yep.
Took that game and revamped it into something new, something different, something enjoyable. Not like Pac-Land or any garbage like that. But Pac-Man Championship Edition DX, yeah. They're making another one, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Part 2.
And there's a new one that's coming out.
Yeah. Sign me up for that.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of my most favorite times as a gamer is finding these unexpected gems that you buy, that that you find it on the shelf, you pick it up, you put it into your gaming system, Sega, whatever gaming system you have, you put it in there and you play it and you find out that, whoa, like what have I been missing out on? You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of my favorite times as a gamer, going into something, you know, back in those days, you know, you didn't have that, again, we said this again, you know, we didn't have that luxury of having the internet and seeing what the game looks like before we play it. But, you know, having that opportunity to pick up a game on the cheap, you know, put it in your system, and actually it ended up being a good-ass game. And you know, I love that feeling.
Yep. And the thing about it is that we are talking as middle-aged guys. I would say, I'm not going to say I hate to say it because that's what we are. The thing about it is that, you know, generally speaking, up until the advent of the internet being readily permutable and readily available in everybody's houses, you know, the only option you had, if you were lucky to, was to go ahead and rent a title before you actually paid full price for it.
Yeah.
In which case, guess what? You had to spend money in order to go ahead and experience what it was like online, or excuse me, in your home. Yeah. And that's just a luxury that you know, we didn't have at the time. A lot of times now, people have YouTube and online video gameplay and everything else that they have access to. But you know, there still are some titles that squeak by, and people go ahead and they pick them up and they're like, wow, this is actually really good. And that's pretty much what we wanted to portray in this video, you know. And I think with that, if you folks want to go ahead and ask us where we found these things, you know, go ahead and leave us a comment. And like I say at every video, thank you for staying with us over the last 30 minutes or so. Leave us a comment, hit like, hit subscribe. Go ahead and check out our channels. You know, tell us whether or not we missed anything, or if there's something you have questions about, something you want us to go ahead and cover, leave it in the comments below. With that, I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
And Gray Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming. Credits.
You see, in the past, you weren't out just a fucking quarter. You were out for the $5 that fucking Blockbuster would charge you for the 2 fucking days that you would have to go ahead and rent that thing. And if you didn't have a system, they would take your credit card number and charge $99 to it.
Yep.
Make sure that you return that shit back.
Oh, yeah.
Gaming has come a long way, YouTube.